It's got a squiggly straw, but I took it out and I can't get the straw back in, so the lid is a decoration now, decorative element. Refreshing. Hello humans! I'm back! I'm alive! Hello, how are you? To keep the story short for people who don't follow me on Twitter and have no idea why I vanished, my brother gave me the plague. That lasted like 2 weeks, and then just as I was getting better, my voice abandoned me, and now I can finally hold a conversation without a coughing fit. Hooray! So let's get back in with another myth. We haven't done another myth in a little while. I thought it might be neat today to talk about Orion, the only constellation I can actually pick out of the night sky. This is one of those stories that I knew the myth of Orion's death quite well, but I'd never actually read the story of his birth, and oh boy, was I met with some classic Greek mythology. I apologize in advance for the content of this tale. Alright, so we begin with a dude named Hyrieus, who is hosting the gods Zeus, Poseidon, and Hermes. They're having a dinner party at his house. They've shown up, unexpected guests, and he has to host them. Hospitality is a big thing in ancient Greece. And for once, in a story in which Zeus is asking someone for hospitality, Hyrieus did not decide to feed the gods human. Every other time Zeus shows up at someone's house, whoever the host is like, I'm gonna feed them my youngest son, cut up into a soup, oh ha ha ha, they'll never know. And then it goes badly and people turn into wolves, all sorts of things. But Hyrieus, he wasn't like that, because he's not psychotic. So he fed them a normal meal, and Zeus was like, wow, you are the best host I have ever met. What do you want? You know what? What is your greatest wish? We will grant it to you right now because you are such a good host. It's a pretty low bar. And Hyrieus said, well, I mean, I never married and I've always wanted kids. I would love to have a son if you're, going to grant me my greatest desire. And the gods said, consider it done, and immediately began jacking off into a cowhide. What is that about? What the hell is going on? Poor Hyrieus is just standing in the corner like, I mean, I want to kick them out, but I can't because they're gods. So highly disturbing. They have their circle jerk moment. And then they wrap up the cowhide full of semen and they, this is so gross. And they bury it in Hyrieus' backyard. And they're like, let that cook for 9 to 10 months and you'll have a kid. Thanks, guys, says Hyrieus. Wow, what a gift. Please leave. So every day for the next 10 months, he wanders past that spot where the gods buried their own jizz and has to try not to think about it. But after those 10 months, out of the ground crawls Orion. Ah, yes, I did say Orion. There's a U after that first O. I cannot believe that this is legit how the story goes, but basically, Orion crawled out of the ground and was named Orion, which means to ejaculate. And that was his name for a while until someone finally said, hey, maybe we should drop the U and call him Orion for short, so that we don't, scar him for life. And so from then on, they referred to him as Orion and never spoke of it again. Which, I mean, TBH, thank goodness. Thank the stars. So anyway, after that horror nightmare, we have Orion, who grows to be a giant man. I'm talking literal giant. And he marries a woman quite young, but then she gets yeeted into Hades by Hera, because apparently she claimed she was more beautiful than Hera. I'd love it if characters could stop doing that. That might be nice. So anyway, Orion is like, hey man, I gotta find another wife. So he goes off to this island to win the hand of Merope, right? Now there are a few Meropes across Greek mythology. Just to clarify, this is the Merope who is the granddaughter of Dionysus and the daughter of a man whose name is Wineface. I'll be honest with you, his Greek name didn't stick in my head. The translation being Wineface did. So that's That's his name in my head forever now. Anyway, Orion goes to this island ruled over by Wineface and he says, I would love the hand of your daughter, and to prove how serious I am, I killed every animal on your island. And Wineface is like, what the hell? Dude, that's an insane person thing to do. Why would you do that? But like, technically by like a bunch of rules or whatever, he can't like reject Orion in this, you know, wedding gift of murdering all the animals on the island. So Wineface is just putting off the wedding, putting it off because he does not like Orion. Under these circumstances, why would you? Big old giant comes, murders your island animals and tries to marry your daughter. You put that wedding off. You brush it to the side. You take as many rain checks as you possibly can. But eventually, Orion became impatient and he got hella drunk one night, bust into Merope's bedroom and raped her. Because that's the kind of guy we're dealing with here. I mean, when all three of your dads are douchebag gods who just... Nope, we're not revisiting the birth, actually. Let's not. Let's go back away from the conception. Away from that story, moving on with our lives. Wineface finds out what Orion has done, comes into the bedroom, and blinds that sucker! Oh boy did he make him blind! And then he kicks him out onto the shore. Hell yeah, Wineface, get it! So now Orion is blind. What is he to do? Well, luckily, we find out at this stage that Orion can walk on water. Presumably because he's the son of Poseidon. But that's just a thing he can do. It's pretty much a minor footnote in the story, but there you go. So he wanders around the Greek Isles, over land and over sea, literally, unsure of where he is, begging for food, relying on the kindness of strangers, until one day he accidentally wanders into the Forge of Hephaestus. Now, the more familiar you become with the stories of Hephaestus, the more you realize that these two are basically peas in a pod. So Hephaestus really likes Orion, and he takes pity on him, and he provides Orion with his best servant. And Hephaestus says, let this servant be your eyes. And Orion picks him up and puts him on his shoulders, because let's remember, Orion is a giant, and this little normal-sized guy is like tugging on Orion's hair, Ratatouille style, to guide him in the correct direction, until finally they arrive at the horizon in the east. And just as dawn arrives, Orion turns his face towards the rays of the sun, and his sight is restored. Which is pretty cool and magical, but my sister Shannon did point out that that's usually the opposite of how it works. You know, we're all told, don't look at the sun, it'll make you go blind. But apparently, it's also the cure for blindness. So I mean, hey, Orion, filled with sight and fury, decides to go and get revenge on Wineface, who wronged him. I mean, I'm on Wineface's side, but, yeah. And so he rushes back to the island. But Wineface has a freaking, like, Doomsday Prepper's underground bunker, so he just hides out until Orion gets bored and leaves. How good is that? Long live Wineface! Finally, we get to the much more familiar tale of Orion's death. While he was hunting in Crete with Artemis and Leto, Artemis did not like him very much. Orion was boasting about how he was gonna kill every animal on the whole planet. He's such a great hunter. You're such a lame hunter. You're the worst hunter ever, Artemis. I'm the best hunter. I'm gonna kill everything. And Artemis, like, calls up Gaia and says, hey, I need a favor. Sick him. And Gaia cracks open the nearby hills, and out crawls a giant scorpion, which comes and rushes Orion and stings him to death. It just feels poetic. This is where we get Scorpio from, as in the star sign. And whenever the constellation of Orion sets, the constellation of Scorpio rises, just to remind everyone that the Scorpion won. And now, to this day, Orion in the underworld is one of the only, if not the only shade of Asphodel to ever retain his passion and some of his personality after having imbibed some of the River Lethe. And he spends all of his ghost time hunting all the animals that he's already killed. When I told my brother this story, I said he just keeps hunting the animals that he already hunted, which seems like a nasty fate for the animals, and Reese said yes, until the scorpion dies. And in that final note, I take great heart. I hope that you enjoyed the story. You know how YouTube works. If you liked it, do the things, because that's how the internet works. I feel like there should be lots of housekeeping because I've been gone for so long, but I can't remember any of it, so hopefully I haven't forgotten anything. That's it! I'm done! Email this to your grandma and I will see you some other time. It feels good to be saying that again. Look, I remembered the microphone and everything. I'm on it, man. I can't be stopped.